can't edit my money.
I don't know, man. I don't do the coding for this.
Okay. All right. I will make a notepad of my actual credit total.
Can you edit your biography?
Let me see. Yes. I'll put it there. Good thinking.
But who wants to give us context as to where we are?
We're on Coruscant. It's a big city planet. It's an ecumenopolis, actually. One of the more notable ones in fiction. Tends to be a touchstone for explaining the concept.
What is going on?
Well, we showed up, and the Jedi Stasi were there to take Kane in. So we talked him up, and he went off to go deal with that. And he met some old friends along the way, people he hasn't seen in a bit, him and Kana. There was a little bit of tension. He appears to be sequestered with, like, Kana, but, like, evil. But not evil, but, like, fighty. Like, if Kana's a Pomeranian, this one's a Chihuahua.
I think that's the best description for Telsey I've ever fucking heard.
Oh, she would hate you.
Am I wrong?
The little personality, not wrong. It did scale a little bit.
The scale is correct.
But
because Telsey has the Lissy's fighting prowess versus Lissy's people skills with Kana.
Yeah, so there was some talk there. Kane is going to be brought before the Jedi Council to determine his fate for going AWOL and all that. But the fact that he went along without causing a fight will count for a lot. Tia and Iffy had a debate over Tia's outfit.
That's about it.
Yeah, didn't we do the fucking whatchamacallit last session too, the group chat?
What do you mean?
Was that the session before that?
Yes. Yeah, we did last session also have a brief discussion where we talked about the visions.
Yes, we talked about our visions. So everybody's in the loop on those. If he is definitely not force sensitive, I don't know who told you that. And then Kane and Kana had a talk, and Kana had a forced vision of Lissy, and she tried to reach out to some of Lissy's other peoples, and they were very, I don't know, I think she's okay, but it's probably worse than we know about it. I think that's everything.
Kana spammed her family group chat.
Yes. Yeah, her Discord server.
Yeah.
The family WhatsApp.
The family WhatsApp. Even messaged Zavik, got some information from him about the shitstorm that happened at the planet. I forgot the name of the planet that Lissy went to.
There was a shitstorm. She's gonna walk it off, I think.
Yeah, she's gonna be okay. Gotta believe in Lissy. Oh. Yes. No wonder. I was just like, man, it feels so quiet. It's because I'm not in the fucking stream.
Yeah, you don't have the pits of music that Joe has chosen.
It's better than silence.
Yes, it is.
So much better than silence.
This having background music is such a fucking game changer, dude.
Yeah.
For real.
We miss you so much in the games you're not in, Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking on this responsibility, Joe.
I enjoy this responsibility.
We also learned that Master Sillin is a good guy.
Yeah, he's a pretty decent fella.
Decent guy.
Chill. One of the
Master Chillin'.
Chill. But we are starting up.
Oh.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt our programming, but you did want to handle the healing and stuffs from last time.
Yes. So, let me open this shit. Your strain should everybody's strain should all be completely healed. And then let me pull up the chart here. How many of you were injured? Like, knocked in the wounds?
If he was greatly injured.
And Kane and I think
Kane
also took some hits.
He was wounded, but he did not get any like lasting injuries. He just has 5 wounds.
And well, that would be fully healed because every night you get one. You naturally heal 1 wound.
Gotcha.
So that would be fully healed. So, Iffy, you can take. We said it was a week and a half, I believe. So, 11 days. 10 days. 10 wounds.
All right, I'm back at 0. Okay. What a nice place this is to be.
And then for the critical injury. Why is this on a completely separate sheet? So you can try to roll 1 time to escape the critical injury. Yeah.
I think Mindy can roll that, right? Right?
Yes, she can.
What severity is it? Severity?
It was it crippled or maimed? Either way, it was up there.
Yes. I believe it was maimed.
Yeah, I think so.
And the critical sheet. I love running this stuff. I love the storylines, but then at the same time.
So maimed is hard.
Yes.
Maimed is
3
hard.
purple. Okay.
One success.
Hey. You are no longer directly suffering maimed. There's still the discussion that we had in place.
Yep.
But you are no longer considered suffering a critical injury, so you don't have to worry about that.
That's very good. Thank you, Mindy.
Mindy learning a whole lot about trauma surgery over the past couple years. Has made it a very, very short work of dealing with this in a very efficient manner.
Man, I gotta sink more points into this fucking skill.
But all 3 of you, Mindy, Tia, and Iffy, made your way to the Senate building. It is relatively quiet by standards of the Senate building right now. There is not a meeting in session. However, the Senate building is never fully quiet. There's always people coming and going and milling around, and new arrivals from various parts of the galaxy trying to make their way to their various representatives. Not to mention just the standard hustle and bustle of those that maintain and guard the building. In fact, there are 1 or 2 Jedi that you can see just kind of standing almost ceremonial post at this point. In the main hall, just keeping an eye on things. And if you're you, going to give Tia a grand tour, or are you making a beeline towards the office?
If you would like to give Tia a grand tour. However, that would be sus to do with a plain, regular, not at all interesting bodyguard. So she's heading straight there.
Oh.
Hmm?
One thing, Z. Would it be okay to say that after Tia and Iffy argued over Tia's outfit, and it's not being formal enough, that they just went back to the ship and Tia just brought out the fucking outfit that she got from Bill Bringy?
If you'd like.
Yeah.
If he would allow it.
Yeah, that outfit's more formal.
Yep. Not perfect, but more formal than what she has before. It is now the only formal thing she owns.
So you make your way perhaps through like a longer route so that you can show Tia and Mindy some of the views from the Senate building to the office. And the office that the Hapen Consortium senator resides in, the shared space with a few other senators, as new members of the Senate and members that have not fully shown how influential or powerful they might be. They are sharing with others along their hyperspace lane and in their kind of general little pocket of the galaxy. The office layout, I shall try to do a really bad doodle here.
We live for doodles.
Because I cannot find something that worked. So essentially you have a primary kind of sitting and waiting area, like the door being here, and a weight room. All the way here, and then there's a separate office that also has a little sitting room. Hold on, it'll let me draw. There we go. Sitting room, another office of some sort, and like the senator's office. And then there's another one up here. It's a very similar format. So there's space for 4 in a single suite. And then you have like a little cantina lounge area and some like private like meeting rooms up here. But each one of the individual offices does have its own entrance into this like primary area.
I don't mean to go off on a tangent. I'm just curious because has there ever been a bathroom in any Star Wars media?
They call them the Refresher.
The Refresher. Okay.
Yes.
There's actually some on the ship.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Just curious.
I'm gonna activate it now because somebody distracted me.
I think on the map is labeled a commode.
Yeah. The commode right here for the main level. And then there's
the pilot. Yeah.
The pilot one. Yeah.
And
oh my god, there's multiple.
Yeah.
Iffy's private suite.
In lore, they're called refreshers. They call it commode on this, but this is an actual Star Wars ship map. So, like, yes, they are there. They just don't spend too long thinking about them because you don't want to think about how different alien species go to the bathroom.
Totally.
That gets
Makes
real
sense.
complicated real fast. But that's kind of your general layout. So you have interaction with 3 other planets. That being the Zeltron planet, the Nasri planet, and the Vina planet. But you take the long way, and when you finally reach the office suite, You open the doors and you see a couple of people just sitting around, apparently waiting either to have a meeting or perhaps escort somebody out of a meeting. And the Hapes, I will give you the option. Where would Hapes try to be?
Where would Hapes try to be?
Because the two side ones are going to be bigger, quote unquote, more luxurious, but the other two are more private.
Which one has the better view?
Probably one of the two slightly smaller ones.
I'll take a slightly smaller one with a better view. And more privacy. That feels about right.
So you enter in, there's a couple of people just kind of sitting in the main waiting area, and you can hear a little bit of chatter. You think maybe another person or two off in the cantina lounge area. And you make your way back to the Hapes Consortium office. And the door is closed as you approach. But you can hear voices on the other side. One male, you think two female. As if you do.
Do the voices sound familiar?
You're pretty sure you hear the senator and her husband at the very least.
Well, I think that she is not about to waltz in there while they're perhaps having a meeting. So she'll wait outside. Imperiously.
So, you'll wait outside for a little bit. It only takes 2 or 3 minutes. And finally, see this woman walk out. And you remember that is Senator Schiff, S-H-I-F. Senator for Vina. Who actually has one of the larger offices. And she opens the door, steps out, and seems a little surprised at first to see you. And then she smiles very slowly. And Vina is actually a planet that their population, though not their culture, their population is descended from Hapen explorers. They're one of the earlier allies, question mark, of the consortium in getting into the Senate. However, they react very strongly against any effort of Hapes to control or influence, because they see that as being like, we owe you, but we're not the same as you.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
And this is a middle-aged woman. Senator Schiff has always been relatively pleasant, if a little hard-nosed about some policies. She smiles very slightly at you and kind of nods her head. I see that you're back.
Well, you know how it is. Couldn't keep me away for too long. How's it been for you?
Well, your little trade deal did manage to keep this office tremendously busy. Should have seen the waiting line outside.
I'd like to. You got any photos?
And there's a little smile again. I don't, but I'm pretty sure that what's her name again? Hedras, senator from Beltron. Hedras has a few. She thought it was very, very. He ran out of alcohol 3 times.
3 times? Look, and Zeltrons really know how to put it back.
She nodded. Well, lucky for you, Senator has managed to postpone a major party in your till you were here, but I assume that's what you're going to be stuck doing.
Oh, woe is me. Work is so terrible. I have to attend these parties in my honor.
After you plan them first.
There's a distinct wince. It'll be fine. Don't worry. I mean, I've got these umbrellas I need to offload anyway. You know, the little ones for your drinks.
And there's a brow that goes up. You have enough to offload.
Oh yeah, I got hundreds of them.
I am not going to ask. She is like holds up a hand to stop you from explaining more if you try.
If he was made like a hand gesture with like her good hand of about to explain, so she stops. She goes, ah, well, either way, it's good to see you. You gonna be at this shindig?
Yeah, I wouldn't miss it. And my ambassadors are more than here to hear your story of how you managed to convince a hut to actually sign something decent.
No, let me tell you, I don't think any other contract's gonna be half as intimidating after that.
Oh, what I hear. Selena is more than willing to throw you interesting things now. Good luck.
If he will smile, nod. You know, I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for the heads up. It's good to see you.
And the undershift just kind of bows her head and in a acknowledgement of the good to see you and a return of it without saying it, and heads down the hall towards her office. And as soon as she walks by, you can see that a couple people are already peeking their heads around the hallway, looking towards you, having heard her voice. And they go shuffling off very quickly, following her. So you assume those are people eager to claim her attention.
If he will leave them to it. And she will. Is the door to Valina's office still locked or closed?
No, it is open. She was listening to that.
Oh, yes. Of course she was. If he will peek her head in, then wave with her good hand. Senator, how's it going?
And inside, you see, sitting behind her desk, not in a necessarily formal way, but in a, for Valina, semi-relaxed posture. You see Valina, and then you also see Ryzen. Kind of standing off to the side, as he is usually. Giving her space, almost acting as a bodyguard, though you've never seen him react to strike anybody or impose himself. And Belina just lifts her chin a little bit, and there's a little smile. She gestures you in.
If he will step in and gesture for the other two to follow her as well. Nods to Valina, nods to Ryzen. How's it going? You guys are looking great. It's always wonderful to be here. Did you miss your favorite ambassador?
The smile, there's just a little bit of tightness at the corners. She knows that trap. She's not falling for that trap. And she just kind of tilts her head. Well, it's good to finally have you back. Would not believe the amount of paperwork I was having to do for you. Oh, both myself and Lysandra.
Oh, I'm sure Lysandra could use the practice. You know they don't make them do any paperwork in the military.
No, they don't make them do any paperwork on your end either, do they?
Oh, I do a lot, actually. It's one of my favorite pastimes.
We're not talking about bookkeeping. There's
There's
just
a
A little bit
Oh,
of
God.
there's as she is saying that, a little bit of a kind of like teasing smirk.
Here's a return teasing smirk from Iffy. Oh, well, if it isn't about bookkeeping, I certainly don't know what you're talking about. But it is good to be back. Sorry it took me so long. I ran into, well, a couple of interesting circumstances.
And Valina takes that opportunity to look from you to giving both Mindy and Tia a very long once over. And both of you can feel the weight of the gaze. She doesn't even try to hide that she is sizing up and judging. All in one go. Well, considering your new companions, I certainly assumed there was something.
Quite a few somethings, if we're being honest. Kind of a series of somethings, really. This over here is Mindy. That's a medical droid right there. This is Tila Tarala, new bodyguard.
Either of you do anything as the senator is kind of staring both of you down.
Mindy
Friendly.
will wave.
Yeah, friendly smile and wave. They were told not to speak to fucking anyone. Unless spoken to.
And Valina just gives a little nod after the waves. And will look at Iffy and then look over at Ryzen. Ryzen! As you turn your attention towards him, realize he has been sizing up as well, though it's more from the corner of his eyes. He's kind of more staring off into space, the center of the room, that he can glance in the directions he wants without being too obvious. And she looks back. It's a pleasure to meet both of you. I am Elena Sumai, call me Senator Suma. This is my husband, Ryzen. And then she looks towards you, Iffy, and just gestures to the chairs in the room for all of you to sit down. Why don't you tell me about everything that has happened?
Iffy will take a seat. Is the door shut?
Yes, the door would have shut after you.
Okay. All right. So if he takes a seat, I can do the whole conversation. Would you like to, Z, or should we just abstract it?
It is up to you what you would prefer.
Okay.
This is
Uh,
interaction with one of your NPCs.
All right. So, oh, I guess Matt stepped away. Yeah. So Iffy will look at Valina, and she'll start up. So the whole situation on Abathar ended up pretty good for us, but we ran into some, shall we say, aggressive elements looking to our counter to our needs, and well, we lost some people, and it wasn't easy. We picked some up along the way, though, so it ain't all bad. Let's see. After that, we went to Bill Brainy. No, we did the Paramount after that. So she continues, and then I was trying to track down something important for our cause here. I was trying to see if I could get my hands on some Bacta.
And you see a single crease between the brows at that, but she remains quiet. No, Valina is usually one that lets people talk. That's the version of diplomacy that she has long been espoused for, of listening, hearing the story out, to be fair on one hand, but also on occasion to let somebody hang themselves with their words.
Mm-hmm.
She just remains quiet because she senses there's still more to come.
Oh, and let me tell you, this whole situation, we were trying to track down this mole. We ended up interfering in this organ running ring. It was a whole thing. It wasn't even like I mean, I guess it was kind of an interesting murder, but I digress. We tracked that whole situation down, followed some loose ends, stopped at a casino, did a little racing on the Creation Thumpus. You ever bet on the Creation Thumpus, Melina?
And the crease in the brow has increased in depth. And there is just a slight narrowing of the eyes. She is trying to follow the story, but also read between the lines. I have gone to a few races. I have not bet on them as of yet. Much
Oh, they
prefer
can
the
be.
swoop bikes.
You know, I usually prefer swoop bikes too. Most of the time I go to the swoop bike races. This was the first time I ever dealt with Creation Thumbus. Anyway, it turned out to be a very profitable venture for me. So I do recommend it, and if you ever want, now I know a place we can go and get some pretty good seats.
She kind of gives a little nod and tilts her head very slightly. And then
Well, we were following up on a lead. I wasn't just there for pleasure, I promise you. But we follows up on this lead. We end up in a little bit of an outpost somewhere. Long story short, we did get our hands on a fairly significant amount of Bacta.
is that why there was Bacta being offloaded from your ship when you landed?
Oh, you heard about that, did you? I'm going to have the ship swept again.
There's a little quirk of the lips. Oh, I wouldn't worry. Ship.
There's that small smirk in return from Iffy as she's running some calculus, like, I see, Somebody's paid off somewhere along the line. But yeah, that is why there was the Bacta being offloaded from our ship, because that is, well, now the Haven Consortium's Bacta.
And she kind of laces her fingers together on top of her desk and leans back. And you can see the information processing. And if you look over to Ryzen, you can see a little bit of amusement in his expression. Though he remains quiet. Elena just gives a slow nod after a moment. Oh, I heard some of it. Of course, your success on Aberfar did make its way all the way back here very quickly. I had heard that you did end up on the Paramount, but I had my doubts. Where do you say? In organ smuggling?
Yeah, organ smuggling ring. Also, I met this woman there who had 2 men with her. Can you believe that, 2? I mean, no offense, Ryzen, but can you imagine 2?
In Ryzen, there's a snort from him, and he shakes his head. Sometimes we are useful, you realize that, right?
That's why I said no offense. Look, we've got a fella on the ship. He's great. He's wonderful. You're so reliable, Ryzen. But most men aren't like you, and aren't like my fella.
There's just a sigh, and you hear a slight cough from Valina that you're not sure if it is an actual cough or if it's her trying not to laugh at her husband's frustration. And Valina just nods a little bit. So I can assume that everything I've heard about the Paramount, or most of it at least, was true.
Well, it depends what you've heard about the Paramount now, don't it?
That you were in the middle of a war zone for some reason?
Yeah, that part was certainly true. We all end up bleeding for the Queen Mother at some point or not, right?
And the eyebrows go up a little bit. And you were there bleeding for the Queen Mother. And her eyes drift towards Tia. And acquiring a new bodyguard.
Oh, yeah, I mean, well, you gotta seize the opportunity for a new bodyguard when you see them, right? They don't just grow on trees.
And she shakes her head slightly. I shouldn't be surprised. Just please tell me that you did nothing to bring anything back around to the consort.
Oh, of course not. I mean, if anything, we were nothing but an assistance to those folks on the Paramount.
And on Bill bringing, despite that being a casino planet?
No, I think we were pretty on the up and up there, too. Just took a couple business meetings, nothing untoward.
She gives you a long, hard look. Not disapproving, but obviously giving you an option of if you're hiding something, you tell me now, so I don't have to go digging.
I'm trying to think here. I don't think we did anything that untoward on Bilberg. We did talk to somebody who might be a smuggler, right? Well, who is a smuggler. Yeah. If he will think for a second, I mean, everybody takes a couple business meetings here and there, right? And sometimes they don't turn out to be what you expected, but that doesn't mean they're bad or untoward. It simply means that you're trying to network.
And you see the carefully kept kind of placidness of her face. See the shadow underneath of like her trying to piece together your words. But she doesn't push. She gives a little nod. Well, suppose all in all you've brought back a little bit more than just contract. I'll tell you now, good job. There's quite a few people that want to see if they can get you on their side now. Teams that would like to have an ambassador that plays hardball with the Huts.
She is moisturized in her element. She's thriving here. All smiles, genuine ones. Well, I suppose we'll have to invite a couple of them to the party, see what they're about, huh? Not that I plan on leaving this office at all. But it's always nice to make connections.
And Melina just kind of smiles again. Oh, I know you wouldn't be looking for a man.
If he scoffs, just full body scoff, can you imagine? Me? Working for... No.
And that is all the reassurance I need. She kind of
Can you imagine?
She tilts her head. Well, some of them are going to offer quite a lot of, I assume. Well, because they cannot handle talking to a hut, even though they have been dealing with it far longer than we have.
I bet nobody was shooting at them when they were talking to the hut, neither.
And there's a pause. And she tilts her head again. Talk, the more concerned I am that your bodyguards are not making a cut.
Well, this one is pretty new. If he turns and looks at Tia. But in her defense, she wasn't there at the time.
And with that, her eyes drift towards Mindy. I'm assuming that's why you have a new droid.
Yeah, I've ended up in enough sticky situations that, I think I need one within easy reach.
At least you're keeping your staff up to some par, though if you're getting shot at regularly, probably still need another one or two.
I'll consider it, but like I said, it's so hard to find good people these days.
She nods. And you see her look down to a data pad on her desk and kind of swipe through a few things. As she looks back up, why am I hearing talk that you are traveling with Jedi?
I've only been traveling with one Jedi.
I feel like that one carrying a lot of weight, if a Jedi.
There's just the car shark sort of smile. That's what Iffy's got. She's like, well, we're bureaucrats. We deal in technicalities now, don't we? One of them's a Jedi, sure. It's assigned to, Jedi Master Lissy?
I have heard of her.
Well, this is one of her students. She's actually pretty up and up, if you know what I mean. Pretty quick on the ball, too. She speaks Hapen.
And with that, there is a little bit of a surprise and a tilt of the head. You don't get a verbal response, but there is a reaction.
That's what I said. Anyway, she's been great. So she's doing a bit of the, page sort of situation, a little bit of real life experience. She wants to be one of them Jedi diplomats. Now, the other fella is my other bodyguard. He had some experience with the Jedi. Now, he himself, whether or not he's Jedi, is a question that's about to be settled in the next few days. But I'll tell you this, he's extremely loyal.
And again, you see the calculations are happening. And she leans forward just a little bit. Of a Jedi traveling with you and a Jedi in question. Hope you're not being swayed by.
You think they can sway me? Yeah. Helena, please, we've met.
And there's still this long look. But she hasn't, again, push for the moment at least. She just leans back in her chair again. Had quite an adventure, quite more than I was anticipating by sending you out to Aberfar.
Well, you keep me around because I do adventurous things, don't you?
One way of putting it, I suppose. And
Oh, wait.
again, you hear just a little kind of snort from Ryzen.
Look, The way I sees it, if Apes is going to be part of the intergalactic community, it's better if we get out there and interact with people. I mean, most of the folks I've talked to have never met a Hapen before.
So is this all to imply that you are looking for more adventure, then?
Well, I'm not going to say no to more attention. But you know me. I'm never content to settle.
And Lena nods. And then she reaches into her desk and pulls out another data pad, and you see her unlock it and swipe through a few things. Well, if you are so eager for adventure, I have something that might be of interest to you. Takes you a little bit out of the way, but much like Abathar, you manage to handle it. The Senate will have no choice but to see Hapes for all the incidents that it can bring.
Well, as long as you're sending me someplace that's got trees and a minimum of sand, I think we can work something out.
You say that, and instantly there's a little smile. And there's that little voice in the back of your head of like, oh shit.
If he braces yourself.
I have a job that we have been suggested for that you might be useful for. And Lysandra actually has something else she could a little bit of help piecing out.
Lysandra, ask for help?
And there's a look shot your direction of very much like, I know. We're going to keep our heads.
Well, I mean, of course, I love to help out my fellow ambassador.
She nods. I'll tell you about this one. Arrange a meeting time for both you and Lysandra to come back tomorrow, perhaps, that we can discuss her information as well. Two
Sure.
completely separate things, but, well, you seem to want to become a detective out there on the Paramount if you're sticking your nose into investigations of murders.
Well, in my defense, I've got a very big nose, and the murder just kind of happened around it.
Valina shakes her head a little bit in amusement. This, she finally slides the data pad across to you to look at. As an official request for an ambassador to do a little bit of work for the Senate directly. And let me pull up my notes on this one. Which of my 50 million tabs is it? There it is. You see on the data pad, as you start to skim over the request, that it is a request for an ambassador and a small team to travel to the planet Myrkr. This is Myrkr for you, Amy.
Hmm.
Can you say that? Run that by me again.
Myrkr. Myrkr.
Myrkr. Thank you.
And
There's...
Hold on.
Yeah, what's the question?
No, go on.
There is a request for an ambassador and a small team to go to Myrkr to negotiate some people that are making claims on the planet. The planet has no formal settlements. It's almost completely uninhabited, as far as anybody is aware, by intelligent sentient beings. However, there has been some that have gone and explored there looking for, of course, resources that might be valuable, that have discovered 2 animal species there that are of particular interest. And the request is to go negotiate with these independent scientists and explorers to help locate and bring back a breeding pair of each of these species. There's more information available on agreeing to the assignment. However, at the moment, it has been highly classified for military security issues.
Military security issues. Okay. I think if he takes the data pad, looks this over, it's just, I imagine that she's gotten and has practiced scrolling with just the one hand on this. Um, what does she know about Mirror?
Can roll me a check for that. It will be, let's see, a either xenology or double check where Mirror is. Nope. Tab.
Interim.
So that'll be core worlds, we'll say.
All right, those are both the same roll, so we're gonna roll
2 purple.
Okay.
Can anyone make this roll?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you guys want to.
I mean, fuck it, why not, right? You said core worlds?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Mindy's got this in the bag.
Xenology.
Oh, triumph!
God damn, Mindy.
She has an internal species database.
She
is
does.
true.
She does.
I was actually supposed to add
Hey!
blue sky to that, but I don't think I need it.
You're good. I think you're more than good.
So, Mirror is an inner rim planet. It is the namesake for the Mirror system, so it's one of the primary worlds in the Mirror system. And the reason why there's the smile from Valina is that this is a temperate forest planet with
Jeez, you fucking want, Diffy?
about 90% of its surface area forested. Very little like streams and rivers around. There's no oceans. There are very few major lakes. It is mostly running water and forests. Again, at this moment in time, Mirror is almost completely uninhabited. There's a couple of little micro settlements by various explorers, kind of like a mining town would be, that have gone there and settled down and made little villages, but very few of them last for more than a generation of people. And most of them don't turn out any significant resources of note to bring any other people there to make more settlements. So there's like a handful of pockets, primarily people cutting down trees or people that are there for scientific reasons.
Mm.
And it is noted, though, that there is a couple of large swaths on the planet, this is for your triumph, that do have significant damage that's still being recovered from, as this was actually a location of a primary battle during the Mandalorian Wars about 300 years ago. Nobody really knows why there was a big battle on this planet.
Does Mindy interject with that, or is she keeping it cool?
Right now, I think she's just holding on to it.
That's fair. That's fair.
Unless
If he
asked about Mirker.
Yes.
if he will, I think she's going to scroll and then, without looking back at the other two, gesture. You still ever been to America?
Sorry, if you turn to ask Kia and Mindy that?
Yeah, she didn't turn because she's trying to look like a dick ass boss, but she did ask if you two had ever been to Mirror.
Z, I'm gonna assume
No.
no? Yeah. Tia is just gonna just shake her head, even though Ify's not looking at her. Can't say I have.
No, can't say you have. If he gestures, there's something I'm missing here.
Fucking dick. What the fuck? Is a blink? Right. I'm sorry, Miss Fell. I have never been there before. I don't know anything about it.
There we go. There we go. What about you, Mindy?
Nor have I
Nor have I.
been there.
Just wait till we're behind closed doors.
Boss?
Fucking.
If he will accept boss, and she will look to the data pad, look up at Valina. This does seem interesting. You got a time limit on this one?
Till somebody else decides to take the offer. Only
You
sent
got
to
a
a
lot of
handful of people, so I'm not the only senator offering it to the ambassadors, but very few would be willing to go out to this.
You telling me people don't like forests?
Uninhabited planets.
If he shrugs, you know, honestly, it's not a bad change of pace from all this. I used to go camping all the time. That's pretty relaxing.
And there's a kind of mixed expression on her face. So my family is not an outdoorsy family.
They were raised in the sticks.
Sumas have only been in the major cities on Hapes. Very few of them are outside of them. But she doesn't argue. She doesn't give you a weird look. It's just more of like, well, glad you like it. And she nods. I've tried to get more information, but they're very firm that they cannot offer anything unless somebody has already agreed to go on this mission and is planning on and being held accountable.
Held accountable? It's a big deal, isn't it? So who's putting this whole thing together?
By what I understand, it's got most of the scientific community keeping an eye on it. R&D for the military in particular, and I've even heard some rumors of research division, the Jedi.
If he thinks about this for a second. You know what? I think this does sound interesting. I'll do it.
And there's a blink. Are you sure?
Here's if he shrugs, and she can only shrug with the good shoulder, but she shrugs. Look, like I said, you gotta know a good opportunity when you see one, right?
And Selena nods. No. Just get their reputation as being the most adventurous ambassador out there. Not a bad reputation to have.
Certainly not. I mean, Coruscant's great, but it could do with a couple more trees. Just one or two, you know, like a park somewhere, or maybe just one nice little stream that somebody can go swimming in.
I will always trade a tree for a five-star restaurant and a jacuzzi bath.
I will too, most of the time. But sometimes, I don't know, it's just nice to have it there. It's reassuring.
She shakes her head a little bit, but she reaches for the data pad again and takes it once you hand it to her.
Hmm.
Well, I'll pass the word up. Sure they'll be calling you in for a meeting. Explain some of the details. In the next day or two. And I'll try to get Lysandra as soon as possible so that we can discuss her issue. Take you out again, little ways from what I'm understanding. But no. Mystery by formality, and she holds up the data pad. And a mystery by secrecy. She kind of like gestures with her other hand.
Oh, it would be heaps if we didn't keep secrets, huh?
Well, even by our standards, this one a little stringy.
There's a glint in Iffy's eyes. You heard anything about it?
Well, part of the reason why I think you should be on this. Sandra, for all of her credit, doesn't quite function within business settings as well as you do. And this, I believe, involves several businesses.
Is that so? Now that is interesting. I wonder how she got tied up in all that.
And Selena just shakes her head. I will let her explain it all. She has better grasp of the ins and outs of it from her understanding. And it might take all three of our heads put together to decide the next best course of action. And Ryzen just kind of clears his throat a little bit and actually claims the attention of the room, which generally he lets Valina always lead and command the attention. Really, only you've seen him kind of take charge or offer opinion unless Valina asks him directly in front of you and Lysandra. He prefers to fade into the background with everybody else. As he clears his throat, he shakes his head. I think that this should be handed on to Senate at large. At least somebody with a more in discussing large company. And it
Iffy,
just kind of like hums in response.
Iffy will turn and raise a brow. Mm, you know, people do tend to say that, but you'd be surprised if somebody's there expecting a senator, somebody, an ambassador shows up. Sometimes you catch them off guard. And when you catch somebody off guard, sometimes you can slip something by them.
Less concerned catching us off guard and more maintaining the trade routes few that we have. angry at the law creations of the galaxy. What a risk we should be shouldering.
It was a moment of consideration from Iffy. You do make a good point. Could always put together a little delegation.
And Ryzen just kind of like inclines his head and is like a maybe, still clear in his expression. He's not thrilled,
Mhm.
but he lets his opinion drop for the moment, and Lena just shakes her head. Either way, we will discuss it further as a full office. I've set aside a little bit of time later tonight, but there's a gathering in one of the bars just off of Senate Plaza. It's in your honor if you want anything interesting to happen. I'll leave that for you to schedule. There's quite a few people that want to shake your hand and meet you. Your contract has been held. It's been agreed on. The formal signing isn't until 2 days from now. Felt right to make sure that the person that negotiated it was there, even if the signature is not on the document.
Iffy will smile and nod. Thank you. You didn't have to go through all that effort, but it means a lot that you did. And trust me, Body's gonna be a real rager.
And there's a little smile. Well, getting your name out there in the lights on Coruscant should ease things over for you a little bit.
There's a grin from Iffy. Oh, will it ever. The places I've been staying, aside from the one on Billbringy, that wasn't so bad, have not been wonderful. So, it'll be nice to have a proper party. Is there anybody around I should be on the lookout for?
And she seems to consider for a moment. Let me look at my notes from the meetings I've had over the past weeks. I'll send you a list. A few of them just want to co-opt your success as their own. How they think they might, I'm not sure. Few want to make you offers. There's even a company wanting to snipe you. Ensure that you are in the private sector rather than the public.
Iffy listens and nods in turn. Sounds like it'll be quite the little gathering then.
She looks towards Tia. Again, with that kind of like hard look. I hope that your bodyguard is prepared.
Sorry, can you repeat that? And was that to Tia, or was that like looking at Tia talking to Iffy?
Kind of both. But it was, I hope your bodyguard is prepared. About the closest she has come to talking directly to Tia.
There's just smile and like just a nod of like, yep. As if it's just like, I hope the sky is blue. It is. It's that kind of confidence with her nod.
I don't think we'll have any more issues on that account. If we do, I'm gonna be needing to renegotiate a couple contracts myself.
Luna nods. I should also warn you, I suppose, that, where is her name again? Yeah, there it is. Senator Pedros has invited herself to the outing. Of course, we have to invite her anyway, just for the sake of politeness. And if she is bringing the entire Zeltron and delegation with her, you know how that can go.
Oh, I know well how that can go, he says, smiling, nodding. We'll try to make sure it stays on the right side of fun. Nothing untoward.
At least not this close to the Senate building, please.
If he will have a put upon roll of the eye, not a very serious, disrespectful one, but kind of a joking one. I know, I know.
And Lena nods. Well, if that's all, suppose you do have a party to plan and get ready for. I shouldn't take any more of your time today. I will expect you in the office tomorrow.
Won't be there. There was something that I did hear, though, while I was out that I thought was. Well, I thought it just couldn't be true because it just boggles the mind. Did you hear any of this about men being sent to talk to the Queen Mother?
And there's a little frown. And she looks at you. She looks at Ryzen. And there's kind of a crease in his brow as well. Heard that there's been a few delegations of various kinds sent into the consortium. Now that we're making a name for ourselves in the wider galaxy. Assumed a few might have men in it, but not with another. Sure of the got this information from.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm positive about it.
She gives a little nod and leans back in her seat. And you can see her studying you. And it seems like she is debating how much to say to you.
Can I have Ivy attempt a charm check?
Uh, I am actually going to say that you need to do a leadership this.
I'll take that.
Is that 3 purple and a black?
I use kill with kindness to remove a black. You're not going to let me have respected delegate on this, are you?
I mean, this is a government official, so.
All right, so that is downgrade difficulty. Let me see here. Just double check. I have 2 in respected delegate, so downgrade it twice. And then roll. 7 successes. Iffy leans forward and looks around, and there's a bit of a conspiratorial air to her, but it's one as if she's inviting you in on a secret. And she goes, Valina, come on. I've been running around getting shot at this whole time. I think I deserve to know a little bit more.
Lena just kind of sighs a little bit. I'm not certain of everything that happened. I do have my contacts on this consortium, but well, conversations with the Queen Mother are highly secret, of course. But I have heard that some that have reached out to the consortium for deals and trade. they actually end up being more problem than boon, especially when dealing with the Senate.
There's a moment of consideration from Iffy as she thinks about this, about the dream she had, and looks very carefully from one to the other. And the thoughtful look that comes over her isn't at all the one that she's been wearing this whole time. But it's there for a couple moments, and then she shifts it back to the friendly, jovial one. Well, that just means we'll have to make it so the Senate side of things seems all the more appealing now, huh?
Lena just kind of like tilts her head. And hope that doesn't make a bad decision.
Well, of course, who am I to criticize the Queen Mother, but uh, maybe we can make a good impression at some point.
There's a almost kind of rueful smile. Oh, sure, both of us have already made an impression. We will see if we manage to get a second shot at it.
If he will nod. Alright, well, I'm not going to take up any more of your time either. You're even busier than I am, so it really has been nice to talk, and it's good to see the two of you well.
Lena smiles. It's good to see you as well, especially in one whole. So, I would ask how you got into the middle of it, but I don't think I want to know details on it.
There's just the slightest flicker on Iffy's face at in one hole. Suppressed. Hide the pain herald a bit. Ah, that's. I mean, I'll tell you the story of a drink sometime if you want, but might spook you a bit.
There's a roll of the eyes at that, and she shakes her head. No. Should get going, Janaya.
Iffy will nod.
As you stand up to make your exit, Ryzen actually starts to walk after.
Iffy will look to him and nod, and gives Valina another bow, and as she's heading out, and we'll start to walk, and we'll walk with Ryzen.
Ryzen just kind of waits for a second, walk down the hallway, not imposing his presence, but very clearly expecting the attention. Once you're a good couple feet away from the door, he inclines his head in your direction, Iffy. Okay.
Iffy is still smiling, looks at him, and goes, "Oh, yeah, I mean, a lot on the mind lately, but doing all right. How are you?"
And he kind of looks at you and looks you over, and then looks back at your eyes. You can tell he has noticed a shift in you, though he's not exactly sure what. I am fine. Lena is fine. But seem most cheery.
Iffy is She did not expect to be clocked by Ryzen, I think. And given the dream she had, I think she feels like a bit more of a kinship with him than she otherwise would in this moment. And there's a moment of consideration. Look, sometimes things get a little rough out there. That's all. I'll be all right, Ryzen. You know, I had a dream about you the other day.
There's a blink. And his brows kind of go up.
Oh, don't worry, it was nothing like that.
And shakes his head. Just want... Go ahead.
Go on.
Kara.
If he considers for a moment, and then there's a bit of a softer look to her. I just, I'm glad that Felina has you around to look after her.
There's a very slight softening in his expression. And it's not unheard of on Hapes for there to be a genuine affection between a married couple. It's usually not seen as often as one might hope. He just gives a little nod. I'm not planning on seeing that change anytime soon. But make sure that you're looking after yourself. Whether she wants to admit or not. I hope for you.
There's a moment of surprise from Iffy, and her eyes widen a little bit. And you can see the want in her to say for me, but she doesn't. There's just another soft moment of consideration. Thank you, Ryzen. Really, it's good to hear, and I'm taking what time I can. Besides, I've got these two looking after me. I'll be all right.
And he nods. And kind of takes a half step back and looks over his shoulder back towards the office. And then looks towards you again. And let me double check it. It's applicable. Wanting a little bit of pointer discussions in the future. Do a little digging on the Black Sun. He turns and heads back to the office.
Iffy will a small nod in thanks as she starts heading out of the office back to the apartment with the other two.
And as you're heading out of the office, you do see in passing, though there's nothing more than a kind of friendly wave, as she is currently surrounded by a flock of both her posse is not quite the right word, but it's the only thing I can think of right now. Posse and a couple people are just vying for attention from the senator. You do see Senator Pedras entering into the other large office.
Smile, friendly wave. Night, Charles.
Night, Charlie.
I imagine that the second we're out of earshot, the other two are gonna be like, Iffy, what the
Iffy,
fuck?
what the fuck? Oh, she's pretty.
She's a Zeltron.
Mm-hmm.
The whole troop of Zeltron. This is the whole fucking cabal of corporate hot people.
Hot girls.
Uh,
There are some men involved, though. But it is very, very hot girl night at the bar.
Oh no.
understood. If Tia dies, I know what I'm making.
There are some shots about to be shot that have no right being shot in that joint.
For the context, those of you that don't know what Zeltron are,
I do not.
Zeltron is a planet that is completely inhabited by a species that is seen as almost entirely beautiful and attractive. They release a pheromone that makes people more attracted to them. And the planet is seen as kind of a luxury resort type planet. You go there to be pampered and surrounded by beautiful people.
Huh.
It is party central.
This party is gonna be a hell of a thing.
And so, Pedras and all of her ambassadors and friends have been like, you know what? There's a party in a like coworker's honor. We're gonna go there, and because we
Turn
know
up.
that these like coworkers, that Shapes and Zeltron have a good relationship. Yeah, they're going there and being like, yeah, we're gonna fucking party.
Hot Girl Central.
It's a good thing Kane's not going to be there, because Kane would die.
True.
Just be standing in the corner like the meme guy. They don't know. They don't know I was told not to talk to anyone.
Like, Kane may not be necessarily attracted to everybody, but I feel like it would be almost like the anime nosebleed but death for Kane. It's too much. Too much.
Awkwardly standing in the corner, just like, please, nobody talk to me so I don't have to figure out how to deal with this situation.
So you're saying is what Kane's worst nightmare is Tia's fucking dream.
Is it a dream though? Because does she want to have a whole bunch of very, very hot and biologically hot women flirting with her in front of Iffy?
See,
One time,
in front
like,
of
now that she
Iffy.
has finally locked in a relationship that she cannot go and flirt with people.
I mean, here's the thing. She's a flirt by nature. She's not going to actually pursue anything.
Oh, Iffy.
But it's gonna be interesting. Cool. Cool.
Heading back to the apartment.
Back to the fucking apartment. First fucking question, Iffy, what the fuck? I don't think Tia took Iffy seriously when Iffy was like, "Nah, I'm gonna be like a hard ass boss. Just watch." She's like, "Yeah, okay."
Okay.
Okay, sure. Anyway. That's nice.
Mindy would give a debrief at this point about the planet.
Hell yeah.
From what she knows.
More facts. Pats on the head for Mindy.
As if he's listening to the debrief, she takes a second and thinks for a moment. Did you say Mandalorian? Oh.
That is indeed what Cody was told.
There's a moment of consideration from if you're. That's interesting. Real interesting. Could take the time to try and do some more research while we can back at the apartment.
And is up to go on a fucking safari.
So, what are you digging for information on?
Probably Mirker. And also the Black Suns, because Ryzen told us to look into that as well. Is there anything else that we should do in the apartment?
At the apartment, not necessarily, not that I can think of.
Bond. I don't think so.
So you're doing more digging on Mirker. Check this. Again, currently Mirker does not have any large settlements. It doesn't have a species that's living on it. However, it is known that the Nedi in EotE once lived on Mirker, and for some reason that either they genuinely don't remember or they are refusing to tell the larger galaxy, they almost completely left Mirker. The Nedi are a race of sentient plants. Shape-shifting sentient plants.
Ah, cool.
They ended up moving to a different world and settling down primarily on a different world, though. The Nedi are not... They are a large enough species that they are seen out and about. Not in huge numbers, but they are also not a, extreme rarity to find.
Okay.
So they left a couple thousand years ago at this point. There's still a handful of Nedi that live on the planet, but not large enough to say that it is inhabited by the Nedi anymore. Additionally, Mirker, check this, has been of pretty great interest in the scientific community due to the plants and animals there. One of the more recent discussions that you see, I imagine looking online, you see some research papers that you attempt to skim, but your eyes kind of glaze over a little bit because you don't want to actually read it. Talking about some interesting trees with some very long-lived, almost quote-unquote immortal properties to them. Thinking along the lines of the giant redwoods.
Interesting.
Let me see. And part of the reason that there has not been more exploration, even though there has been a lot of people landing there and settling there in the small little mining towns and stuff, they know that there are resources on the planet because there's such a high metal content in the planet that it interferes with almost all sensor scans. But they haven't been able to figure out how to access it. And double check the time frame of this really fast. Currently, it seems like a lot of the groups that are on the planet feature primarily Solonians. That's about all you can get on Mirkir.
Okay.
What features what?
Solonians. The otter
They're the like
species.
purple cat. Oh, I was gonna say cat, but yeah, okay.
Can you spell that for
Like
me?
the guy you parkoured.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you spell that real quick?
SELONIAN.
Okay. So you said that the planet features Solonians?
Yeah, it seems like a lot of the groups that are there, either in like little mining settlements or the like research groups, primarily are Solonians for some reason.
Ah, that guy. Yeah, hardcore parkour down the staircase.
Yep.
Um.
Smacked you with the tail a few times.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd be researching? Any of you? I mean, you can answer as well, Kira. I was just making sure everybody knew that they could answer.
Oh yes, no, absolutely.
Ouch. I don't know what Tia would research here. If she had the time.
Well, even if it's not researching, is there anything else she would be doing at the apartment? You have internet access to Coruscant web and TV and news and any contacts she might theoretically have through Coruscant.
I feel like the only contact she would want to get into contact with would be like the usual Zavik, Shiska, check up on them. I mean, she's not in Coruscant. She knows there's some shit going on with Lissy. So she'd probably shoot a message herself to like Atreyu or something. Other than that, the only people that she would contact would be the Mirion Resistance, but she's been laying low for good reason lately. So I don't know if it'd be a good idea for her to contact them.
That is up for you to decide whether or not she would.
Coin flip. Heads yes, tails no. Tail. That's gonna be no.
You reach out, send another message to Zavik. He essentially says about the same thing as he did before.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're fine. We're getting the fuck out of Dodge at this point.
Mm-hmm.
The ship has taken some damage. Shiska's pissed off because she never likes when the Delight is damaged. So they're going into a dry dock somewhere to... I just had a ADHD moment of like, do I still call it a dry dock? We're in space.
Air dock? Oh.
Air dock?
Oh. Dock.
Yeah. Going down somewhere to make sure that repairs are done and done properly, usually by her own hand. That
of course.
How possessive she is of the Delight.
Expect nothing less.
And do you send a message to Shiska as well, or just Zavik?
Well, she probably shouldn't. But Tia's caring concern for her will win out over her logic, and she will.
What is the message? What is the context of the message?
Friendly greeting, as always. Lots of emoji usage. Just general, like, hey, blah, blah, blah. I want to make sure that, you're all good, and everyone made it out okay. Thank you again for doing this. It means a lot. I cannot wait to see you again. XOXO. Your favorite Mirialan.
So, you send that message to Shiska, and there's a little bit of time before you get the response. Like, I'm fine. Chris had a few feathers shaken out and a nice burnt beak from a shot that got through. But she'll survive. And then she goes on to list everything that was fucked up with the Delight in detail.
Hello.
As she is wont to do.
Hello. Of course, Tia has all the sympathy for the ship. She'll mention something about some stabilizer just went out, and Tia's just like, but that's only about 8 months old, isn't it? Already has to be replaced?
She doesn't respond to any of your responses, because once she gets done with that, there's about a 30-second pause between messages, and then you just get, what the fuck, Tia?
I have to go. I'll talk to you later. Love you.
And you get about a paragraph of, like, what the fuck did I tell you?
No.
What did I teach you?
She's not opening it. She should have known better than to message Triska, but she was concerned. Gonna hide her fucking phone under a pillow and walk out the room.
So that's waiting on you when you have the mental capacity to of a like 2 or 3 paragraph rant of I took you in because you had some sort of sense, but apparently I was wrong. Because what was one of the 2 major rules I told you? You don't fuck with certain people, and what are the people you don't fuck with? These people.
Yeah, Tia, it's, oh man, Coruscant is really, like, not good for her phone right now. She'll check those messages later. You know what's good to do in the meantime? Go and bother Mindy and Iffy. That's what she's gonna do.
What have you got for us, Chief?
And Mindy, is there anything that Mindy would be looking at?
I mean, not unless, like, instructed to do so.
Okay.
Like, she has no, like, I guess, impetus to look up anything in particular.
Okay. And then, Kira, it sounded like you had something else you wanted Iffy to look into.
Yeah, I had something else I wanted her to look into, but then I stepped away and I realized something that she probably would be looking into immediately because there's a party to plan. I think she wants to set up a Pizzak tournament at this party.
Oh my fucking god.
Oh god. Okay. I mean, she can do that. You've been sent the information on the bar, and I can actually show you here.
Mm-hmm.
Bro.
So you essentially get the orb.
Mm-hmm. Oh shit!
Holy
Man.
shit.
We were playing some fancy ass Pizzak in that joint.
Who the fuck cares about research? We have a party to plan.
She'll get to the research, but I think that after she's looked into Mirror a bit, she would want to plan the party, and offload her cocktail umbrellas. We're going with a nice tropical theme, Z.
Tia's keeping some of the umbrellas, though.
That's fair. But if you would probably want to reach out to people she knows, make sure everybody's invited, you know, that whole situation. And yeah, set up some Pizzak at this joint. Some performers. All that. I think she's going to be focusing on that for a little bit.
Hell yeah. Probably at that point, that's when we go clothes shopping.
Yeah, and then, of course, everybody has to get matching outfits for the shindig.
Does Mindy wear clothes?
Nope.
What about accessories?
Good grief, they're naked!
I mean, is it, like, something that plugs in? Because otherwise, nope.
Mindy, you can't just...
C3PO proves that I can.
What if
I
we
think
put,
more of
like,
a question of would she be willing to be put in, not does she?
What about a hat that we can just suction cup on?
What about like a nice flower crown?
Fucking like lay on this pink asteroid. Mindy very quietly like, when is it polite and acceptable for me to get rid of this as soon as possible?
But Mindy, you look so cute. Mindy, wait, I need to take so many pictures.
I need to go over here.
I mean, she would if she was asked, but otherwise, like, no.
Pretty please, Mindy? Pleading, puppy dog eyes. Mindy, we can be matching.
Give me a moment, I am looking for my map that I have lost.
Kana's not here for Tia to force Kana to match with her.
Where on this map is this? I apologize. Navigating this fucking map is the bane of trying to do Star Wars. There we go. So, you send out your invite. So there is a list that you get sent by Melina of some people that are attending, whether you want them to or not. As being the formality of, like, you know, the Zeltrons invited themselves, and we can't say no because we share an office, and it would get awkward. And then there's some that are being brought in more as the formality and, you know, an opportunity for connection. And a handful that are, you realize looking at the list, people that are being invited either because they are close to Abathar or because they are close to Hut space. So you do see that there is though there is no, at this time, senator for Ryloth, as it is in Hut space. There is a representative from Ryloth. You also see that there is a representative from Aldo Crease, that is bordering with Hut space. The Zeltrons have invited themselves, as well as courtesy towards Vina and Onderon. And then closer towards Abathar, out in that region of space, there's a senator for Ord Mantell that has been already pre-invited, and a senator from, where are you? Look, there's another senator there. I can't find the planet.
Senator...
Question mark.
Senator.
Of course, Valina and Lysandra are there, as well as their various compatriots. And you see that there are also few representatives from various corporations that have either already been invited or are requesting an invite to you now that they have heard that you are back home. List there. So you see that there's requests from Transgalmag, which is an extremely large ship company. One that makes battle cruisers and fighters. Assume, since you made a contract for one of the major components of fuel for these things, they're all interested in you right now. So you see Transgalmag. You also see request from the Da Corporation, Coronet's Durasteel, and Circa.
Ooh. Seems like an interesting combination of people. Let's see. We have heard a lot about Circa, so I feel like we should invite them.
Oh, and one more. Sorry. One more. There's a small, compared to these others that are galaxy-spanning, well-known organizations, you see one small one that's simply listed as modified technology systems. But you're not sure if it's a small company trying to, like, schmooze the big guys, or something else. It's a little strange, because you've never really heard of them before.
Let's invite them. Let's invite Chirka, and let's invite those big starship peoples too.
Okay. Transgalmag. Sure. Is there anybody in particular that you can think of beyond just the vague hand wave of friends that you would like to have invited? You're trying to target somebody or something.
I feel as if... Do we know anybody who would be on Coruscant right now? I guess Regi, maybe.
Regi's
Is Regi around?
When you reach out to him, it seems like he actually is. Seems like he's been on Coruscant for about 2 or 3 days.
We'll invite Regi.
Anyone else, even if it's not a specific name, like something you're hoping to fish for?
Is there anybody... Wait a second. Are there any Mariolans about? Any people involved with that government?
There is a representative of Mirial, since Mirial has been taken over in the war. They aren't necessarily, like, fully part of the Senate at the moment, but there is a representative for Mirial that is hanging around on Coruscant.
Let's invite them too. Yeah. Is there anybody else can think of?
Me, no.
Nope.
No,
but
I'm
I
good.
did not write down any of what you decided.
That's fair.
I'm sorry,
Are there any Kaminoans? Let's get those long necks in here.
I feel like in the future they're going to be really important.
Yeah, maybe we should make a connection here. Imagine, like, Clone Wars, but all the clones are iffy.
Oh, God.
Nobody wants to imagine that.
Just hearing the name's Iphigenia fell just a million times over.
Do you want the list, Amy, for the notes or not?
I'd like to.
Okay. So, did you get any of the ones that are invited themselves or already pre-invited?
No, I didn't get anything. I was doing shit around.
there is essentially a small group that either for formality's sake or via interest and connection to what has happened for this party to be a thing has already been invited. And of course, that's the entire Hapes group is there, as well as the Zeltrons have invited themselves. And Valina has invited the Vina senator and ambassadors out of politeness, being in the same office. There's also a representative from Ryloth, though Ryloth is not officially part of the Senate. There is a representative from Maldo Kreese. There's a representative from Onderon coming. From Ord Mantell. I believe that's all that I told you from those. And then if he decided to invite Regi.
Oh, that's gonna be fun.
And invite a couple of corporations that have reached out to her. One being a starship industry that's Transgalmeg. Spelled exactly how it sounds. Transgalmeg Industries.
Happy Pride.
Happy
yeah.
Pride.
Invited Circa. And then invited, I think it was just those two and the small one, right?
Yeah.
Invited
What was the small one?
A small corporation that is not particularly well known. It's kind of strange that it's such a small corporation reaching out to play with these big boys, seemingly. It is Modified Technology Systems.
Modified Technology Systems?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
And then that was all for the party planning. Then you guys are heading out. Are you just going outfit shopping, or are you wanting to do gear shopping and stuff too?
Let's do both. Why not?
2 birds.
Yeah. While we're out.
1 outing. 1 trip.
What type of store are you heading to first out of the ones I actually have to run shit for?
Well, we're going to the fashion shop first, obviously, but you don't have to run that. I feel like if he would be looking for, just, I think probably stuff that can help her out in the context of this party, like recording device, like maybe some clandestine recording devices, that sort of thing.
Heading to a gear shop first.
Yes, gear shop. Yes.
So, for the sake of time, you're not able to really go down into the deeps of Coruscant before the party. Between planning and trying to get some clothes shopping done and everything, you kind of have to stick to the higher shops. Which means that on one hand, you have a much larger array because upper level shops have a lot more sources that they can pull from. However, you're not going to find any of the things you'd only find on the black market, number one. And then number two, you're gonna have to play hardball as far as money goes with them. But you head to a gear shop I imagine you've gone to once or twice. That's relatively large. And let me see here. At this gear shop, be prepared to write down a list of things.
All right. What we got? What have we got?
Surprisingly, for some reason, they have fire paste,
Mm-hmm.
as well as a variety of different flavors of ration packs.
Mm-hmm.
You see a Scout 5 field goggle.
Okay.
You see a variety of different tints of different sizes and shapes.
Did you say tents or tints?
Tints to sleep in.
Thank you. Okay.
They have water purifiers. They have flares, Luma flares. Camouflage netting that seems to have just been brought in.
Okay.
They have an aquata breather.
Mm-hmm.
A thermal cloak. Long-range comlinks. A neural recorder.
Ooh.
However, that is a cybernetic.
Yeah, we would have to get that implanted.
Let me finish scrolling through this thing fast. Along with the camouflage nets, there also seems to be an electric perimeter fence.
Neat.
And then I have to double check what this is because this came up on my thing, but if I think it is what it is, then you can't have it. In a large case that at first they don't seem to bother showing you until you
Mm-hmm.
specifically like, what's that? That seems to be weirdly placed. A XV09 chemical restraint harness.
Chemical restraint harness? This one I don't know.
Happy Pride.
It's
Happy
a special type of harness that you place on a creature.
Okay.
That injects the beast with chemicals to keep it docile.
Yeah, no wonder I haven't heard of that. Okay.
It's
So I'm
known to be very useful for very aggressive creatures. However, it's also, well, she wouldn't know this. Never mind.
Would Mindy or Tia know?
Mindy might. Mindy, make me a xenology roll at 4 purple.
4.
4.
I believe.
Dang.
You know that there is some sort of controversy around the restraint harness at some point. It gave it some bad press, but you don't recall exactly what the controversy was.
Kita hates this harness.
Kinda.
All right. So I think we should get the fire paste, the ration packs. How much are the field goggles?
I open up that list again. Fucking open. There we go. So, the fire paste essentially is going to be 1 credit per.
Mm-hmm.
They're just fucking selling that like hotcakes.
All right.
The field goggles, they are currently asking for 12.
Okay. Tents. Should get tents. We should get water purifiers and flares.
This
How?
all seems like gear we need.
Yeah, this all seems like gear we need. How much is the aquata breather?
So, first off, you had the tents.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want pup tents or do you want big tents?
If you want a big tent. How much is a big tent and what is it, 5 smaller tents, 4 smaller tents?
So a big tent is 100.
Okay.
Each one of the pup tents is going to run you about 35.
Okay. How many fucking people are in this party? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah.
5, 6 when you add Matt.
So 35 times 6, however much that is. Okay.
The camouflage paint is 40. The water
Okay.
purifier is 50.
40. Water purifier is 50.
Flare is also 50.
Flares are 50. 50 credits. How much is the fence?
The Luma flare, the reason that it is so expensive is that it is a rocket propelled flare.
Oh, jeez. Rocket propelled flare. Okay.
It is the biggest, like, essentially one of the biggest emergency flares you can buy.
So we probably only need 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you
Water
indeed want to
purifiers?
try and get a Luma flare.
Mm-hmm.
What was the one that you were asked about?
Water purifiers?
Water purifiers are 50.
Okay.
Water purifiers are 50.
What was
Would that be enough for everybody? A single water purifier? Or?
Let me double check the ruling on this one. Why are you being an obtuse? Not popping up, I think. I'll say yes.
Okay.
That.
All right.
Yeah, the camouflage netting?
Is 40, I think.
Camouflage paint, 40.
Mhm.
Camouflage
Okay.
netting is 75.
There's camouflage paint. Okay, I missed that.
And netting is 75. Okay. And how much is the fence?
The fence. Where the fuck did the fence go on this list?
This list does not like you.
No, it doesn't. I believe I told you had an aquata breather, right?
Yes.
Yes.
That is 120.
120. Okay.
The electric perimeter fence is very expensive.
Okay.
It is 750.
That is very expensive. I don't know if we need that. All right. Thermal cloaks?
Thermal cloaks. I picked the wrong tab. You know what? This will be a faster way of doing this. There you go. 200.
200. Okay. For the thermal cloak, that's for a single?
Yes.
Okay. Long range comm links?
200 as well.
For a single.
Yes.
All right. I don't. The neural recorder is cool. There's no way in hell if he would get that implanted in herself. Does anybody else want it?
No.
Kane, do you want to be the Matrix?
I mean, I think it's really cool. I can't think of an in-character reason why Kane would get it, but it's cool.
It is cool.
Also point out that you can use cybernetics to install into droids. Cody wants.
Ooh, Cody, do you
I'll
want
take
it?
it.
Yeah, all right. How much is a neural recorder?
250.
That's very reasonable.
You will have to pay to get it put into Mindy, though.
Okay.
Can Mindy put it in herself?
At a higher chance of fucking something up.
Okay, so let me just total this up here. So that's 250 for the neural recorder, single one. We'll get 10 things of fire paste.
Are we rations?
A bunch.
Yes.
Yes, we'll do that later. Field goggles. I think we only really need like 2 sets, right?
What do they do?
They're field goggles.
Just goggles,
They're
right?
just goggles?
I think so.
Yeah, all right. I imagine this is like a conversation that happens in the field after Iffy buys several pairs of field goggles, and Kane's like, "What are these for?" It's like, "They're goggles, Kane. What do you just sometimes you need goggles, okay? Did you buy them to go with your outfit?" No.
No. God. No, I bought these to go with my outfit.
Does Kane still have his phone on him, or was that confiscated?
So the field goggles are essentially designed to help protect your eyes. So it allows you to remove setback dice on vision checks and such that's related to sun, wind, or dust.
Oh, they're goggles. All right.
They are just goggles.
They are just goggles. I mean, I won't turn them down. Kane has good perception.
Yeah. We'll get a couple for field operations.
Yeah.
Plus 1 big tent.
How many people can fit in the big tent?
You're funny if you think anybody else is going in that tent with her. Except maybe Tia.
Oh my god. The other big tent, the one for the rest. There's Iffy's and everyone else's.
Technically, if everybody's sleeping shoulder to shoulder tight in like you're supposed to in a tent, you can fit up to 6 people.
Okay, so we only need 2 big tents.
How? What was your plan? Original plan for the tents? Why do I feel like if he's looking at the tents, starts putting in numbers, Tia, sensing a disturbance in the force, calls Kane. Hey, I need you real quick to help me with this. With what?
Kind
with
of
Iffy.
In the middle of being arrested. I'm in court.
You are the resident Iffy expert.
Talk her down.
When it comes
she doesn't
to shopping.
You want to do this because you're going to be carrying it if you get out of jail.
Alright. Do we need the aquata breather? There's not going to be much water, they said there, so I don't think we need that.
There's just mostly rivers, right?
Yeah, do we want to get a thermal cloak?
One thermal cloak. Why not?
Yeah,
Just one
thermal cloak.
As a treat.
For context, the thermal cloak allows an individual to remove up to 2 setback die due to cold or heat.
Alright. And then we'll get 2 long-range comlinks. That way they can stay with one. We can do a 2 split on that. Because those 2 groups can then communicate. And then we will...
Hold on, someone read somewhere that the signals are disturbed by the planet, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. Would that apply to comlinks?
Or is that just like long range communication? Like interplanet?
Scanners.
So it affects almost all scans and sensor data. As far as comlinks, long range, it would depend on how long range you're talking as to whether or not it would affect it. Like opposite sides of the planets, you're going to have a problem. Less than a mile, less likely to have a problem.
Well, it's good to have a pair of long-range comlinks anyway. So
yeah.
We should get a pair of those. And then the neural recorder. Okay.
Walkie-talkies.
My total on this is 1549. Can I negotiate that lower? I can afford it now. Can I negotiate that lower?
Try.
All right.
Don't you
Let's give it
know?
a shot.
She's about to go to a party in her honor.
Yeah.
This
What's the difficulty?
particular shopkeep is going to provide a challenge to you.
Oh boy.
This is the Coruscant shopkeep.
He's not impressed.
So you're looking at 1 green, so it'd be 1 purple,
Mm-hmm.
2 red.
2 reds. Okay.
Damn. Okay.
All right. All right.
He's a professional.
And I'm guessing this man does not care about Republic representative.
No,
He's
he
not
deals with
impressed.
them all the fucking time.
He's like, oh wow, the ambassador wants to go on a camping trip.
Big whoop.
All right, let's see. You know what? No, it's not worth a light side point. We'll see. We'll see what we get here.
And I will pause you here to like give you a consideration. Well,
I'm sorry. I had already rolled.
So with that threat and a triumph, I will let the triumph cancel the threat, so you have just a straight success.
Mm-hmm.
You said you had 15 something?
1549 total.
1549. You are able to talk him down to a cool 1100.
Woof! Love that for us.
Now, I will say that before you subtract anything,
Okay.
what I will do here to expedite the shopping process.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to go to anywhere else, because this was just your gear shop,
Yes.
I will let you can make a note of it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Of what you're able to talk them down to, and keep a note of what you're buying and the cost that originally was. And you go to like the armor shop, you can go through all of them and get your costs, and then figure out what you want to pick and choose between to try and buy more if you would like. Or you can just straight up buy everything from this and worry about the others on a different day.
All right. Well, I do generate more money every session. Yeah, we can run through the rest of the shops, and like I can handle that later on another day. I can buy this for 11, and then we'll do the other stuff another day.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Go.
A nice trove of survival supplies being shipped back to the Dawn, I am assuming.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You don't want them cluttering in the apartment.
Absolutely not.
Anything else you would like to do?
Aside from the clothing shopping, I think she would probably send a message to check in on Kane, but that will be about it. She's probably focused on this party. I imagine she would stop to talk to Dia, and they would have a little back and forth. But aside from that, probably going to the party.
Okay. And anything else that Mindy or Tia would like to do?
I mean, at some point, Mindy wants to attempt to install the neural recorder.
That will be something she can try and do the next in-game day.
Perfect.
Not quite yet, but soon. So with that, I think it is a good place to end it for tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know Iris is listening. We did a focus in on Iffy and Tia this time, so that we will focus in on Kana and Kane next time, so that you didn't have to worry about feeling rushed and trying to do anything at the temple, because I know there were some things you wanted Kana to do. So next time, I'll flat out say it now, it's going to be 100% focused on the Jedi.
Okay. Heard.
So that we can get through their stuff essentially the rest of the day that they land, and probably most, if not all, of the council meeting the next day. And then 2 sessions out, we will handle the party for
Sounds
Iffy,
good.
T, and everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions, concerns, anything else?
I feel like it's
Oh.
been a minute, but do we need to roll obligation?
I think we did 2 sessions ago.
Yeah, y'all rolled it at the end of skip 1. So because
Gotcha.
this is a more protracted campaign, I'm not asking for obligations every single time. It's at big points, essentially. So I can move the pieces accordingly.
Okay.
So I thought that will wrap it up. Kane, kinda be ready for what the fuck you guys want to do next session. And we'll focus in on Jedi politics rather than Senate politics next time.
Jolitics.